Hello! So many people on Instagram have been requesting to see how I do things. So I thought I'd make a little video to show you how I set up the lighting for my stop motion videos. I am definitely not a professional, but I've been doing this for a while and I've learned a few things. Also, lighting has become something that I enjoy playing around with and learning more about. And I've done tons and tons and tons of mistakes that you should avoid. And the first mistake that you'll probably do is animate using sunlight. And you want to avoid this because the sun moves and your light will change. And when you compile all your photos with different exposures, you'll have a flickering video. So you want to cover your windows. I used to cover mine with cardboard, and when I grew tired of taping it on and off, then I moved here. A tiny toilet, but it was perfect because I could get it completely dark. And the walls are, yes, ugly orange, but they're not white, so it wouldn't bounce the light as much and scatter all over the place. So even when I was using really low lights, I would get good quality images. Plus, it came with an office chair. I just added a table here and it was a perfect dark room. Luckily, my toilet/studio days are over and I got my room decently dark. But you should use black cloth better to not reflect any light. Alright. You probably want to use some kind of continuous lighting, but you don't want to use these. Any fluorescent bulbs would actually flicker because they are not really continuous. They turn on and off so quickly. You wouldn't see it with your eyes, but it will definitely show on videos. A good option are LEDs. This is an LED panel. The light is pretty good, but you don't want to get one that runs on batteries. I shoot for hours and hours and hours, and taking lots of charging breaks could be very frustrating. Also get one that clearly marks the light levels, then it wouldn't be confusing and you'd be in full control of your lighting. Maybe a dial or something, then you can even use it to properly animate your light. So this one on the highest setting will probably last you 25 to 30 minutes, which is nothing in stop motion. So you definitely need one that you can plug to a wall. I got two of these, not really cheap in Egypt. They're a bit expensive, but definitely the cheapest option. One of them, not so surprisingly, is already dead. The battery would only last for like 10 minutes. And this is because shops and vendors in Egypt, or I would imagine other countries that have huge differences in currencies, they opt to bring cheap, lower grade products that do not last at all. Because now brands with good products that are designed to last would be very, very, very expensive in Egypt. So they wouldn't really fit the market. So vendors need to make money and they get cheap products like these. Only lasted 5 months and it wasn't really cheap. This is one of the reasons why e-waste is such a huge problem here. Cheap products that are designed to die. But I don't really need lots of lighting. I used another setup for this and I mostly animate tiny objects, so I can get away with using just one key light. Like here, this is obviously where my key light is, and I'm actually bouncing all the light coming from this on what you don't see over here is a foam board. And if I get this, you'll see that the light coming is bouncing on this and reflecting and lighting this part of my face. So you'd see now this side of my face is bright. If I take it off, you see it's darker, lighter, darker, lighter, darker, and lighter. Okay, enough. So you can use this trick to light specific parts in your object, and it's actually very handy. So now I'll actually show you how I light up my scene. I use two foam boards that I taped together to kind of make my space smaller and reflect the light to other areas. You can just stick one end of a stand to hold it in place, but remember to tape everything down. You want everything to remain constant throughout the whole video. A better setup would be to free the space where you'd be animating, and if you can move any stands or wires where you don't accidentally bump into them or move them, that would be better. Here I just screwed a long piece of wood to my stand and attached it to the foam board using a piece of wire. Remember, you would be animating for hours, so you need to make a really comfortable setup for you. First I thought I'd light it from the top to make it a bit creepy and used another light to light the front, but I didn't like that. You can tether your camera to Dragon Frame and see how everything looks in live view. Make sure you set everything to manual. You need the aperture, focus, shutter, and white balance to remain constant all the time. But instead, I changed my light to be from the side at an angle so that it doesn't look flat, and reflected it to light the other side of it. My key light is 3 LED bulbs that I fixed on a piece of wood and attached to it a cardboard diffuser that I made, and this makes the light softer. Instead of using another light, I used a mirror held in helping hands, all taped down, to only light the eyes, and I placed the cardboard piece to control the amount of reflected light and really only light the areas I want. To increase that contrast, I decreased the amount of light bouncing on the other side by placing transparent blue covers. This also added a tint of blue and made it look a bit more mysterious. Now I'll spend some time playing around with the lights. I'll also move my object around and see how the lighting looks in each spot, since this is not just a still shot. Then I'll tape and weigh everything down and finally start animating.